All right. All right. All right. All right. All right. All right, y'all. What's going on? It's your girl, Coach BRANDI, NIK, and today we're on Financial Fridays for the Dollar Growth Club, and we are talking about our money mindset. So, I'm not in my usual spot today. That's a whole other situation. I have to temporarily be removed from my household just for a couple of hours though, while they do some communications and things like that. So that being said, I'm over here in a place that's a little noisier than I normally have it, but we still gonna get it done. We still gonna talk about this today, and the charge of our financial freedom. So today's topic, we've been actually having this theme even with other wellness dimensions. On Wednesday, Coach Cicely was on talking about generational curses and mindsets, things like that. And we're going to talk about that again today as it relates to our money mindset and about our financial freedom, right? And all that stuff. So it's a topic that's really exciting to me because I know that a lot of us can relate to this, right? A lot of us can relate to kind of inheriting, right? We can think about it like we're inheriting certain mindsets from our parents, or from our grandparents, or from whoever was in our lives, the adults that were in our lives when we were younger. And then what that means to come out of that, right, as an adult, and to start to try to challenge some of that. There's a lot of layers to it. And the reason why I really want to dive into it is because it's about to drop. So it's about to drop in a couple of days. My ebook that outlines the Infinity 8 method, which is the 8-step process that is the keystone of the total transformation wellness system. Now, that is important because each different step, there are 8 steps involved, and these are the exact steps that I used in order to change my life completely around, right? From, you guys know my story, having anxiety and panic attacks every day, from being homeless, from being broke, on my own, in the streets, getting money, doing all that stuff. And then like completely just overhauling my life, and now living the kind of life that I am living today. It's really a blessing, but a lot of it started in my mind. So a lot of this has to do with your mindset first, because if your mind isn't right, if your mind isn't right, then nothing else falls in line. And so this is in my 8-step process. This is a part of the 7th step. So I will go over this, like you will hear me talk more and more about this process, because I want you guys to get it, right? It's not something that anybody ever taught me. I had to learn it, and I had to learn it the hard way. So I don't think that you have to do the same. So that's why I'm here. And so each step, the way that I outlined it, has different actions, or what we're going to call karmas, right? So different karmas associated with them. These are action steps that you have to do in order to be masterful. Just remember, the name of the game is life mastery. That is the name of the game. And we're doing this through total wellness. We're doing this through moving through all of the 8 dimensions of wellness: our physical, intellectual, emotional, environmental, financial, occupational, spiritual, and social wellness, right? We're moving through all of those different things in order to get to where we need to go. And so karma B, so remember, there are different actions under each of these steps. Step 7, karma B, is talking about identifying generational money mindsets, right, that may have gotten in your way from reaching your full financial freedom potential. Now, that's loaded. That's loaded. So like these steps, it's easy to say them and they're easy to do once you start to develop the habits, but just identifying that is, it's tough. It's tough. All right. So what I want you to do, if you don't already have a piece of paper and a pen, I need you to stop whatever you're doing, go and grab that piece of paper, that notebook, whatever you have. I got a ton of notebooks for different things, or I just write things down, right? When I'm learning things, I jotted down and I'm like, okay, yeah, this is how I'm going to make this something that I can actually implement, that I can actually remember. So I want you to do the same. I don't want you to just listen to what I'm saying and be like, oh yeah, that was a nice talk. That was a nice, like, yeah, she made sense. Like, no, all right. I need you to go beyond Coach Branding to make sense. I need you to go to, yeah, I'm going to start implementing some of these things. And so this is one of the steps. So please, 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 by now, hopefully, you know, went, got your stuff and you're ready to rock and roll. So we're going to start with what is money mindset. What is that, right? Let's just start there. And so your money mindset is going to begin with how, I mean, this is like what it sounds like, right? It's how you think about money. Do you have a positive relationship with money? Do you have a negative relationship with money? When somebody mentions, you know, money situations, do you start to get like cringy? Are you like, oh, I don't want to talk about it? You know, do you start to get mad when people start talking about those kind of things? What is your money mindset? Do you get excited? Are you like, yeah, this is my jam? Like, I need to get this out. Yeah, we could geek out about investments. We can geek out about budgeting, you know. Where are you at? So what I realized is that when I first got into, like, when I graduated high school, I moved from New Orleans to New York. And I went there for college, right? I went to NYU and went to college. And so while I was there, I was broke, like, right? Like I was broke. I was on my own, like really on my own. And I was there on full scholarship. And my parents didn't, you know, God bless their souls and God rest their souls. My parents weren't able to provide me with anything. And so I hadn't realized until I got to NYU, and I was around a bunch of people that had a lot of money. And I had actually went to school before with people that had a lot of money, and that was a scholarship. But this was different. And these people were like, you know, these were people of color also who had came from rich families. And I wasn't used to it. I was just kind of like confused. And I started getting angry. I was just like, you know, I felt like me and you, we look the same, but we're not the same. I started feeling that way, right? And so I realized that I was getting bitter about people having money when I didn't have. That was the first thing. I realized that, right? I was getting bitter. And you have to be the bigger person to really grow through this, to realize what, like, where your mentality is, right? Because I'm thinking about it, to come from an environment where people were like, I'm gonna get mine, right? And it's either gonna be me. This is really a survival mode. So it's like, okay, you got something and I got nothing, but that's not helping me, right? So I need to go out here and do something to focus on me, right? So it's a very selfishly driven mindset, right? And it is a poverty mindset. It is a mindset of scarcity, right? So we talk about that scarcity mindset. I don't have it right now. And because you have it, I feel some kind of way. And at that moment, I didn't understand it, but subconsciously, right? Like without me consciously thinking about it or being aware of how I was feeling, what I really felt was that you got it. So that means that I can't have it, or I feel some kind of way like you took an opportunity from me that like had nothing to do with me. Right. So this is how you get like jealousy or covetousness, where you're looking at the next person and you're like, man, whatever, you got all of that. And I'm over here, you're feeling bitter about it. But like their success in reality has absolutely nothing to do with your success unless there's some kind of predatory, unless it's a predatory situation. So 9 times out of 10, this person over here getting theirs and being successful has nothing to do with you. On the other side of that is that there's always going to be enough money. There's always going to be enough money. So the idea that we can even think about being afraid of having nothing, right? Or having scarcity where it's like we can't all win is absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. I'm gonna go ahead and name that what it is, because it's not fair. It's not fair to people who work hard for it. And it's not fair for people who are trying to get out of their situation. It's not fair to you if you are holding on to that, because what that means is that you are now walking in abundant energy. And if you're not walking in abundant energy, then you are going to continue to attract, right, this kind of situation into your life, right? You're going to continue to attract poverty. I'm broke, I got bills to pay. That mindset, right? I'm broke, I got bills to pay, man. I got enough. I want this. I want that. That's coming from a place of I don't have, of lacking, right? Of deficit. It's coming from a place of deficit. And I was in, like I said, I was in college, coming out of high school and college, and I carried this mindset with me until like all the way through my 20, like my late teens, all the way this mindset. And I kept thinking like, dang, I keep having things, bad things keep happening to me financially. I keep being broke, or eventually I learned how to make money, but it wasn't the right way. But eventually I learned how to come out of all of that stuff. But even that was what was a situation of scarcity. Oh, I gotta hustle. I gotta get out here. I gotta get mine. So even if you have a lot of money, it doesn't mean that you're abundant, right? And it definitely doesn't mean that you're not operating out of a poverty mentality. And so is this something that you also can relate to? Is this a mindset that you hold on to you? And like, where do we get these kind of mindsets from? Right? Well, we learned them from somebody. We learned it from somebody. And this is why we talk about generational mindsets, generational curses. And this is true for how you think about certain things. This is true about what you think is possible for your life. This is also true for health related issues, right? This can go down. We could talk about generational curses for each and every single dimension of wellness. We can go through it, and there'll be something that you could have inherited from your parents or from the people that raised you or from the people that was around you. But we're beyond that now, right? We're grown. Or even if you're not grown, it's good. Even as a teenager or as a kid, if you're watching this, and you're just trying to be like, how do I get out of this? How do I get to the money? How do I attract it? This is how it starts, with how you are thinking about things. So you want to identify what are those money mindsets. All right. If you think last week we were talking about in the group mindsets such as like statements, right? Statements such as time is money, or it takes money to make money, or I'm not in the right field for money, right? Or like money is the root of all evil, right? These kind of things, these have been taught to us. And I don't know about y'all, but I grew up going to church, right? I grew up going to church, and I remember this idea that money somehow equated to evil. I had it for two reasons. So this was the second money mindset shift that I had to make, right? I literally had this mindset that no good comes out of money. Now there's reasons behind that, and I'm going to talk about it because again, we're family. We're talking straight talk about money mindset. We could be real with each other. I could be real with you. I feel like I could be real with you. So first thing is, my father was on drugs, right? It was crack 80s. All right, crack 80s. And so what I realized is that he would get a check, he would go blow it. He would get a check, he would go blow it, right? And this is true for a lot of people that have parents who have had addictions, right? You get some money, you go and spend the money, but you spend the money on things that are unhealthy for you, right? And so as a child, I saw that, and I said, there's no good that comes out of having the money. That was the conclusion that I gained from that unintentional lesson, right? The lesson is I'm getting my money because I'm seeing it, right? And children learn through not just what you teach them, not just the didactic, lectures and all of that stuff. It also comes down to what we're seeing. And we learn as adults like this also. With humans, a lot of times we are very visual, right? And so we learn through what we see, as well as learning through all of our other senses. So I saw that and I said, man, here's the cycle, right? Man, you get to the money, you get your check or whatever, you go and you smoke that on whatever drugs or whatever, it is that you want to do with that's not helpful, taking you away from your family, taking you away from your original self, taking you away from your abundance potential, all of that stuff. You go and do whatever you got to do. Then my mom used to be like, just pissed off, at him. So then it would be like, well, now she's arguing at him. And so now I'm not seeing a good example of a healthy relationship, And so I'm like, man, money not only I'm like, yo, this is the idea that I had. And again, if you were ever taught these lessons too, just know that you're not alone, right? Money creates problems for yourself and problems for others. That, when you get to the base of it, is what I was thinking, right? So that was number one, money mindset, right? Around why money was the root of all evil. The second part of that is that growing up in the church, going to church and everything, you would hear that, right? They say, the meek shall inherit the earth and all these things. Like it's these sort of ideas. And now that I'm older, I understand that, the context of some of these things, but as a child, it was a little bit different, right? I'm looking at it like, man, look, you gotta be poor to be like God. You gotta be out here getting out the mud if you're trying to be like Jesus. Like this is really what I was thinking. And so in my quest to be godlike, especially when I was younger, right before I got into all my heathen activities, I had to laugh at myself real quick. Before I got into all my heathen activities, I'm like, I want to be God. Like, I really was just like, nah, I don't need no money. I don't need that. Right. So two things I saw in my experience in faith. I was like, you have the money. Only people that got money is pastor. I mean, so there's that, right? And then on the other side, in my household, I saw how that was ruining my family. That was my idea, but it wasn't the money that was ruining the family. It was not the money at all, right? But that was my understanding of it. So that was the second money mindset that I had learned, right? I had learned from the people that were around me. Now, what were my parents' ideas about money? I have no earthly idea, right? Because they're such bad stewards over their money. Was like, well, the bills get paid. Did the bills get paid? You got to pick and choose which bill you're going to pay. Why? Because we're struggling. You know what I'm saying? And so some of these things, like we inherit. And I mean, like, I really wish that I hadn't seen that with my parents. I think that when doing what I do now, right? Doing what I do now is where I really help people maximize their life experience in order to get to this level of life mastery, because I figured out the code, right? It took me over 30 years to figure it out. I got it, right? So it's like, I wish that I would have been able to make some of these things accessible for my parents, or that they had role models or people in their lives that would have been like, nah, listen, here's the path, because you weren't on the right path, not because you didn't have the potential, but because you didn't have the right mindset. You understand what I'm saying? Because you didn't have the right mindset. And so I know this from myself, which is why I'm saying you gotta, it's never too young to start thinking about how you're thinking about your money. And this is why this is such an important karma in this system, and especially in this seventh step in the Infinity 8 method, is because if you don't figure out what has been passed down to you, you can't break it. You can't change it. You think it's normal. You think it's normal. You're in the box of what you have learned and not talking to other people, not understanding that it is okay to be the great dissenter in your family, to be like, nah, that's not how we're rocking. You talking about this over here, you talking about in order to get money, you got to go to college, you got to go and get a 9-to-5 job, you got to retire, get your pension, get a 401k, all of that stuff. And that is fine and dandy. But the truth of the matter is that how are you going to get to a level of financial freedom, right? Financial freedom, if you follow that blueprint was never designed in order to have you be free. So how is it that is the blueprint, that is the roadmap that we're using to get to our destination? It can't be that. It can't be that. Now that's cool if you want to coast through life, or you want to, you want to work the jobs and you want to like just chill. That's all right. That's all right. There's nothing wrong with that. No judgment whatsoever. And if you are somebody who is like, nope, I have a goal of, this is my freedom number, right? Remember we calculated that last week. If you didn't see that video, watch that. If you wasn't on the live last week, watch it, right? I know my freedom number is this. and my job that I have is fulfilling that. So I am happy. If you can do that and live within that, even if it is, a meager salary, that's all right. If it brings you happiness, that is cool. It's going to be different for everybody. Everybody don't need to be a millionaire. Everybody don't need to be a boss. Right? Truth be told, everybody does not need to do that. So this is not to say that it is right or wrong to have a job or to be an entrepreneur or to be a business owner or to be an investor, right? This is not saying you have to do one thing and one thing is better than the other. It's saying that depending upon what your purpose is in life, depending upon what it is that you need in order to feel free and to feel like you are best maximizing your time that you have here on this planet, in order to feel that, right? In order to feel that, you're going to have to make some decisions and you're going to have to undo some of your old ways of thinking. There's no way to get around it. You progress forward if you're thinking back, 7 generations worth of misinformation, miseducation. You just can't do it. You just can't do it. Now, if that's not your case, that's good. If that's not you, that's good. Right? Right? I'm talking to a specific person. And if you hearing the message in this, then you know exactly who you are. You know exactly who you are. You got to change the way that you're thinking in order to move forward. So I hope that that was helpful to somebody out there. I hope that was helpful. All right. And y'all get the ebook when it's out, right? I'm gonna drop the ebook first, and then it's gonna be a full-fledged book after that, y'all. And it's gonna be dynamite. I'm telling you, the gems that are being dropped there. I mean, these are from my own life experiences. This is from research. This is science backed, right? All of these different things. So I'm not going to tell you nothing that's going to lead you astray. But I do know that they work because they work for my life. And, glory be to God, the creator of the universe, right? And ancestors for all of this, because I really can't, I never say that I can take credit for my journey. I wouldn't have in a million years wanted to have learned the lessons that I've learned in that way. But you know what? I'm grateful for it. I'm grateful for it. So anyway, moral of the story, write the list of your money mindsets. What are you thinking about money specifically that you've heard before in the past? And it may not be a whole laundry list of things, right? I named you 2 things. I named you 2 things that when I changed those thought processes, right, completely shifted the way that I experienced and engaged with money, right? The other thing about, I'm gonna leave you with this last one, all right? This is like a bonus one. So the other thing that for me really had to change was the way that I thought about life. So for me, my life experience, how long I was going to live, how healthy I would be when I lived, all that stuff played a huge part into how I looked at money, whether or not I was going to be investing it for the long term or whether or not I was going to be like, yo, I might die tomorrow, so I'm going to spend all my money, right? And so that I think it's important to talk about, because for me, that was a huge shift that I had to do. And this has been actually my most recent shift, right? The most recent shift that I've had has been, I might have a long, happy life. So I need to be thinking about my future, right? I had not always thought about that. And it had, decades, right, of me thinking like, nah, I'm gonna die tomorrow. I could die tomorrow. I could walk out here and die tomorrow. Why? Because I had seen death. I'd seen murders. I'd known people who had died that I was close to that had been murdered. I was in the murder capital, right, in New Orleans. As much as I love my city, it was dangerous in the crack 80s, and the 90s, right? And it is now too, but back then it just felt especially dangerous, I thought, right? And so there was this idea about death and money, or like if you have too much, then you put yourself in a position to for somebody else to have a poverty mindset against you, to want what you have. And the next thing you know, you're dead, right? Because they wanted what you had. So they took it. They took it and they didn't let you continue to breathe after that, right? So that was another huge thing that I had to start rethinking, right? I really had to start rethinking that because the older that I got, the more I was like, yo, I'm still here. And then I said, and then I asked myself a question, and the question was, well, what happens if I just start playing full out? What happens if I just start making my own reality? What happens if I stop living in fear? What happens if I just stop living in fear? Right? And the fear is a thing that a lot of us hold on to, and a lot of times that fear is generational. Oh, nah, you can't have a house because, man, with the house comes bills, and with the house comes repairs and all this stuff. And now you can't invest anything because, you know, the market be crashing, and you're gonna lose all your money, you're gonna lose all your retirement, or, you know, whatever. You know, you can't be flashy, or you can't show the people your hand too much, right? You got to live to see another day, right? So it's a bit of a survival of the fittest sort of thing, and that is huge, I think, for people who grew up in those kind of environments, you know, or grew up in a situation where it's like crabs in a barrel. It's crabs in a barrel, which, like I said, goes back to the poverty mentality, but very specifically, this goes to how this relates to your ability to live and stay safe in your area, right? So there's so much to talk about, but today I just wanted to come on, talk about mindset. I thought that it was incredibly important to address it, because, you know, how many times you hear people just talking about strategy, you know? It's all out there. It's all out there, right? You can go Google up some things and join somebody's mastermind, or, you know, go out there and just scroll through YouTube. There's plenty of information out there, right? But it's not the strategy. The strategy is important, but equally and even more important, I think, is mindset, because you can have the strategy all day long, but if you don't have the mindset to actually go out there and implement, be an action-oriented person, then it's not going to happen for you. It don't matter how educated you are in these things. It doesn't matter how much you've thought through, how much money you can make if you do this. If you don't put your feet down and start creating these habits, these patterns, doing these things, start doing actionable steps, start doing these karmas that, you know, that I mentioned in my ebook, then it's not going to happen for you. It just isn't. I mean, it just does not work that way, right? Doesn't work that way unless you got a surrogate to do it for you. That's not what we're talking about. Talking about you watching this, right? Putting step one foot in front of the other and really changing your mindset. So here's the homework. I want you to write down at least three different ideas about money that you had that are stopping you from reaching your full money potential. What are those three things? And then next to that, I want you to write down where you learned that from. Yes, I do. What are the three things? Okay, I'm gonna repeat it again because some of y'all may not got it. Three things that ideas, right? Three ideas that you are thinking, your money mindset, that are stopping you from reaching your full money potential. And then next to that, I want you to write, where did you learn that from? Who taught you that? Where did you learn to have the poverty mentality? Where did you learn to play it small? Where did you learn to think that you couldn't do something, right? Where did you learn that? So that's it. Dollar Growth Club members, listen, I put it in the group. All right. I want you to tag it under homework so we can have a discussion. Let me further coach you through it. All right. Those of you who are not yet Dollar Growth Club members, join the Dollar Growth Club. I don't know what y'all wait for. dollargrowthclub.com. There's no www. So there's also a link in the YouTube page. Go ahead and click it. Join, you get a free trial. And let's just get you to where you need to be, right? Isn't it time? Isn't it time? We're about to enter the new year. Isn't it time that you live your best life? I think so. I think so. Because if I were me, 10, 15, 20 years ago, and somebody said, listen, you could change your whole life around. Let me show you how. Let me grab your hand. I'm going to give you something. It's going to be affordable. You could try it out even. You ain't even got to pay nothing. And let me change your life. I'm going to be like, yeah, I was desperate for that kind of thing back then. Like, yeah, change it all the way around. Change it all the way around, you know. Um, so anyway, y'all, I'm gonna leave you with that. Do your homework and y'all enjoy the holidays. Have a happy holiday. I'll be looking for that, for your responses. If you're on YouTube and you want to just like comment below, we can also talk here too, right? We can talk here. That's cool. I coach everywhere, right? So let's do it. Let's have a conversation.